There is a growing need in our world for persons of integrity to nurture communities of free thinking and diverse individuals, people who are willing to become a part of the human journey toward a genuine sense of connection with each other and with our dear planet Earth. It is entirely possible to engage with the growth of love. In mysterious connection, we can do this together. It is entirely possible to grow and renew sanctuaries of belonging in ourselves and in true communities. It can begin with greetings, the extent to which we truly see each other. The Zulu people have a way of greeting that holds an intention to deepen the bonds of connection and community. They have two basic greetings, which can be said alone or together. The first and most popular is, I see you. You are important just the way you are. That's translated from a single word. The second greeting, also a single word, is, I am here to be seen. After the first person initiates the greeting, the second person receives the greeting and gives it back in return. It's a way of mutual support. Meeting each other honestly, openly, and with depth can reinforce bonding. There are times when bringing awareness to a greeting, seeing someone for who they really are, can be healing. These greetings, or any, I'm going to turn the light on. I don't know if that helped very much. Sorry to interrupt. These greetings, or any intentional greeting, can be communicated as a way to extend belonging. Now, I'd like to unpack these Zulu greetings. Both are spoken with eye contact. There can be much depth with connecting eye to eye, even without words. This is powerful by itself. Eye-to-eye greeting can encourage us to connect with a felt sense of being. At a level of being, petty concerns fall away. The first greeting, I see you, is an intention to see someone just the way they are. It offers an intention to release any preconceptions and judgments so that I can see you as a unique expression of all that is. To hear, I see you, is an affirmation that you do exist, that you are both equal, and that you have a person's respect. When the greeting is said and received with conviction, it might strengthen resolve to be more authentic in daily life. The second greeting, I am here to be seen, invokes an intention to be present. Saying, I am here is a declaration of intent to be present with integrity. Saying, to be seen emphasizes no masks, no editing, no defenses. It means I will be honest with you and there will be no deception. There is a Zulu philosophy of Ubuntu, which translates roughly as humanity toward all. Ubuntu is a spiritual ethic that advocates mutual support to help your brothers and sisters remember their true identity and to recognize their true value. With these greetings and the Ubuntu philosophy, there is a framework for any true community to express both acceptance of its members and encouragement for each member to be seen as who they really are and to express their best self. These two greetings set a tone. The words aren't necessary if there is an ongoing agreement, a process to foster an open and diverse community. The words aren't needed if the group sets an open-hearted tone together. It's important to consciously seek and renew a sense of belonging and an ability to be honest and supportive. I recently was impressed with Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams. Rev Angel is an activist, a Zen priest and lineage holder, and author of Being Black, Zen and the Art of Living with Fearlessness and Grace. She states that true community is when you can be present with others and you do not have the sense of having had to check part of yourself at the door in order to gain access to membership in that community. So in some families, one may have to check deeply held beliefs or personal identity at the door. They are not seen or acknowledged. Some clubs also operate that way as well. Leaving part of yourself at the door, a lack of acceptance of your personal diversity means it is not true community. Rev Angel also resonates with the dictum, know thyself. She states that true community begins with yourself, that you have a growing sense of what is true for you. That way, you relate to the presence of others in true community. The way you relate to others in true community begins with yourself. That would mean becoming aware of personal bias or perceptual exclusions you hold for others. So you need to have some insight into your own makeup, feel at ease in your own body, and to not feel as if you have to cut off a part of yourself or leave a part of yourself behind in order to feel that sense of belonging. People do give away parts of themselves to alleviate group tensions. For example, in a marriage, one partner may give up a political view and adopt a view of their partner in order to avoid tension or conflict. People also do this in families and different kinds of groups. Rev Angel states that she's had to leave a racialized part of herself behind, the part that speaks informally. She states that in some groups, she's found that language rules may mean she can't use the word folks. She has to say people. And when she does that, her voice gets a little bit tighter. She has to hold herself in a certain way. When that happens, she has left the realm of true community. She states that true community are spaces in which we feel that we are accepted in the wholeness of who we are. And that doesn't mean that every part of who we are is expressed in every given moment. That's not possible. But in the collective of people that we are in relationship with, there is no request to leave a part of ourselves behind in order to be accepted in this group of people. I'd like to play a bit with the dictum, know thyself, which was made famous by the philosopher Socrates. You've probably heard of the Socratic method, in which Socrates would adapt his questions to open the mind of the student. At the core of this dictum is the quest for truth. Can you discern the truth in yourself, avoiding self-deception? Can you discern the truth in others, avoiding what may be popular deceptions? And can you work toward what is most true about yourself, finding and expressing your best self? When we are living our truth in the world, we are more likely to be living in fullness. Wise action can be an outcome of living our truth in the world. A mature community will benefit when it honors and supports the process of striving to live as fully as possible, each person in their own unique way. Living our truth may be another way of expressing the better angels of our nature. Now, I'm not naive. There are obstacles to embracing the better angels of our nature. It's more difficult to know thyself in a cultural environment in which contagious fears are generated on a regular basis. And technology, while important, has outpaced ethics, humanism, and spiritual growth. Omar Bradley, the first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said, "Ours is a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants. We know more about war than about peace." As Rev Angel suggests, now is a good time to know thyself and to bring the best parts of who we are into discourse with our beloved communities. I'm going to give Roger Keyes a voice with a poem titled Hokusai Says. Hokusai was a wise and little-known 19th century Japanese artist. The poem points toward inner knowing. My suggestion is to let the poem wash over you and perhaps feel the heart of it. Hokusai says, look carefully. He says, pay attention, notice. He says, keep looking, stay curious. Hokusai says, there is no end to seeing. He says, keep changing. You get more of who you really are. He says, keep doing what you love. He says, keep praying. He says, every one of us is a child. Every one of us is ancient. Every one of us has a body. He says, every one of us becomes frightened. He says, we all need to find a way to live with distress. He says, everything is alive. Shells, buildings, people, fish, mountains, trees, wood is alive. Water is alive. Everything has its own life. Everything lives inside us. He says, live with the world inside you. It matters that you care. It matters that you feel. It matters that you notice. It matters that life lives through you. Contentment is life living through you. Joy is life living through you. Satisfaction and strength is life living through you. Peace is life living through you. He says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Love, feel, let life take you by the hand. Let life live through you. Now, it's possible that someone somewhere in the multiverse is thinking, Jim, that was a pretty poem, but come on, life is hard. The poem is asking way too much of us. I don't deny it. Life can be hard. Then I'm reminded of an Ojibwa saying, sometimes I go about feeling sorry for myself, and all the while, a great wind carries me across the sky. It doesn't hurt to remind ourselves that the universe can be a friendly, grace-giving place. Which leads to the following story. Once upon a time, somewhere in ancient Asia, there was a monastery that fell on hard times. They were down to a handful of monks. Clearly, it was a dying order. In the deep woods surrounding the monastery, there was a little hut of a Buddhist scholar who had retired into solitude. It occurred to the abbot to visit the once famous scholar and ask if she could offer advice, any advice that might save the monastery. The scholar welcomed the abbot into her hut. When the abbot explained the purpose of his visit, the scholar seemed to understand. Yes, she related, it is the nature of change. They shared company until it was time for the abbot to leave. They embraced each other. Then the abbot said, "Is there nothing you can say that would help me save my dying order?" The scholar responded, "The only thing I can tell you is that one of you is a living Buddha." When the abbot returned to the monastery, his fellow monks gathered around him to ask what the scholar had to say. The abbot answered, "The only thing she said, it was something cryptic, was that one of us is a living Buddha. I don't know what she meant." In the days and weeks and months that followed, the old monks pondered this and wondered whether there could be any truth to the scholar's words. Could one of them be a living Buddha, one of the monks here at the monastery, an actual living Buddha? If that were true, who was it? Do you suppose she meant the abbot? He's our leader. On the other hand, she might have meant Brother Lobsang, who is a holy man. Certainly, she could not have meant Brother Cha. Cha gets cranky sometimes. But come to think of it, Cha is so insightful. Still, the scholar could have meant Brother Dogen, but Dogen is so ordinary. Yet, he always seems to show up when you really need him. Well, as they looked about them, they came to realize that any one of them could be the living Buddha. As they contemplated in this manner, the old monks began to treat each other with extraordinary respect and kindness on the off chance that one of them might be the living Buddha. And on the off chance that each monk himself might be the living Buddha, they began to treat themselves with respect and kindness. People came to visit the monastery, and they sensed there was a spiritual aura that made the place attractive. The word got around, and families came to picnic, and younger men and women decided they would like to spend some time there. Within a few years, the monastery had once again become a thriving order, a vibrant center of light and spirituality in the realm. This story suggests that when people in true community recognize each other as being unique and important, they are more likely to share respect, peace, hope, and love, more likely to explore and develop the personal strengths and gifts that we all have for ourselves and others. I'd like to close with a brief loving kindness blessing, the kind of goodwill that we can strive to embody and to project to others. May we be safe and protected, tender with all the difficulties that arise, loving and strong. May we come together with a radical compassion to make whole what is divided, the openness to embrace diversity, and the caring to contribute even in small ways, to a true and loving community that grants its members unconditional acceptance for being who they truly are. Thank you. Thank you for your interest today.